Hello everyone, my name is Fred and today I will be doing a Top 5 Wednesday video. Now this series was originally created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey, and so I'll be sure to leave a link to her channel as well as to the Goodreads group in the description box down below, and so make sure you check those out. Now the theme for this week is top 5 books that take place in your country, region, or area. Now I'm Canadian, and so I've chosen a few books that take place in different parts of Canada. I also have a pretty good variety of books to share with you today, from middle grade to young adult to adult, as well as books from various genres. And to make this video even a little more interesting, since Canada has 2 official languages, French and English, I thought it might be fun to include books from both languages. And so, in no particular order, here are the books that I've chosen to share with you. The first book that I've chosen is The Friends of Meagre Fortune by David Adams Richard. Now this book takes place in the Miramichi Valley in New Brunswick. The story follows brothers Will and Owen Jameson as they grow up in a prominent lumber family. Now the mother of the boys received a prophecy at the time of Will's birth, saying that her firstborn son, Will, would be powerful and have much respect. However, her second son, Owen, would be even greater, but destroy the family legacy. So, after the timely death of his brother Will, Owen takes over the family business while having this prophecy sort of hanging about his head. He also takes over the business before mechanization changes the lumber industry forever. And so initially the men would go up into the mountains, into the forests, they'd cut the trees, they'd bring down the logs to the river using horses, and then they would float the logs along the river until they'd reach the lumber mill. And so as you can see, my copy of the book is quite well loved. It's a book that I had read from one of my English courses at school. I just had the most fantastic professor who really made me appreciate this book. I actually felt inspired when I was writing my term paper for this, which is something of a rarity. And so I just really remember enjoying the writing style, the themes, the symbolism, the foreshadowing. And just talking about this book makes me want to pick it up again, as well as pick up more of Richard's works. And so this was The Friends of Meagre Fortune. Next, I've picked The Secret Under My Skin by Janet McNaughton. Now, this story takes place in Grossmoor National Park off the west coast of Newfoundland. Now comes the tricky part, trying to explain what this book is about. And so, this is a dystopian story that takes place in the year 2368. The environment has gone to waste, democracy is non-existent, and technology has been outlawed. And so our main character, Blae Raintree, lives in one of these government labor camps for orphaned children, and she spends her day digging through trash, digging through garbage, trying to find valuable materials. One day, Blae gets chosen to be an assistant for a new bioindicator, who is a person that sort of looks after the land and tests the land for any toxins and such. Now, while being an assistant, Blae learns more about her past, about herself, about the Technikos, which brought along this corrupt government, and she finds herself joining in this ideological war of sorts that she didn't know existed. I think I'll leave it at that. That may not have been the best summary, but I just remember absolutely flying through this book when I was younger and really liking it. Next I have Run by Eric Walters. Now this book has both fictional and non-fictional aspects to it. It follows the story of a young boy named Winston, who after getting into some trouble, his mother sends him to spend time with his father. Now Winston travels with his father, who is a reporter following the story of Terry Fox and his Marathon of Hope. And so for those of you who don't know, Terry Fox is a bit of a Canadian hero. After being diagnosed with osteosarcoma and having part of his leg amputated, Terry Fox decided to do this Marathon of Hope, where he would run the length of Canada in order to raise cancer awareness as well as raise money for cancer research. And so Terry Fox started his journey in St. John's, Newfoundland, and ended it 143 days later and 5,373 kilometers just outside of Thunder Bay, Ontario. His primary cancer had spread to his lungs, forcing him to stop, and he passed away at the age of 22. And so the Terry Fox Foundation today continues to raise money for cancer research as well as raises awareness for cancer, and one of their bigger events is the annual Terry Fox Run. And so I had read this book in elementary school and remember really enjoying it. I think it's a great way for people to learn about Terry Fox, to learn a bit about history, and I think that the fictional aspects of the story really make it more relatable and accessible to the younger audience that it was meant for. And so I definitely recommend this read if it's something that sounds interesting to you. Then I have Jeanne, Fille du Roi by Suzanne Martel, and I believe the English translation is titled The King's Daughter. Now, I absolutely adore this book so much, and I've reread it multiple times. It takes place during the Age of Exploration, where the French are colonizing and discovering New France, which we now know today as the province of Quebec. And so in order to encourage people to make the journey across the ocean and live in this completely new territory, the Crown comes up with this program called The King's Daughter, where basically the Crown would offer a dowry to any woman who was willing to make this journey and marry one of the men in the colonies. And so cue in our main character Jeanne, a young orphan who dreams of adventure. And so this story follows her journey to the new world as her life changes forever. It's a really amazing read and fast to get through. The characters are very likable, it's funny, it's gripping, and it's just a period in history that I particularly enjoy reading about. And so I highly recommend Jeanne, Fille du Roi. And lastly, I have Les Dames de Beauchesne trilogy by Mylène Gilbert-Dumas. This is book 1. Now, I don't believe that this has been translated, and so this book will be of more interest to any French-speaking viewers out there. It takes place during the 7-Year War from 1756 to 1763 in the province of Quebec. And so it follows the story of 3 women. Now, after the death of her husband in battle, Marie Beauchesne leaves her daughter with her sister-in-law in order to go visit her father, who is ill. On her journey, her ship gets captured by the British Naval, and then she ends up in Boston. And so Marie Beauchesne must now find her way back to the province of Quebec, back to her daughter. She has to find a way to survive. Now that she's a widow, she also has to think about how she will provide for her family. And so this book includes conflict between the French, the British, as well as the natives. There's also a bit of a love story involved in the whole trilogy. So yeah, I really enjoyed these books, and they are quite easy to get through. The font is pretty large. And once again, it takes place during a period of history that I'm really interested in reading about. And so I highly recommend it if you do speak French. So that was all for my top 5 books of the week. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe discovered some new books that you might be interested in. Let me know in the comments below about one of your favorite books that takes place in your country or region. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you with another one soon. Goodbye!